He pulls a Flashpoint and goes back in time, and we end up connecting Justice League Batfleck with Robert Pattinson's The Batman that's being developed right now.
Darkseid wins, Earth destroyed, but the team grows.
Justice League 2 will be a team up between the Green Lantern Corps, the Justice League, battling Darkseid and his army of handsome aliens.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. This is Rogue Theory, and folks, the Justice League Snyder Cut is real. Darkseid's coming, and that might even open a boom tube to a Justice League sequel, even if it takes another hashtag movement to get what we want. I'm Erik Voss. Going rogue remotely with me today are Sam Bashor.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back. Tommy Bechtold.
Thrilled to be here.
I believe you, I think. And off-screen producer Zach Huddleston. Welcome back.
Papa Voss, I crack a bang energy in your honor.
Yeah.
You have to finish that by the end of the episode. We'll know. We'll tell by your pupil dilation. All right, on this episode, we are talking about our friendly neighborhood Snyder Man. Off-screen producer Zach, you wrote that pun, didn't you?
Yeah.
Zack Snyder confirmed last week that HBO Max will release his recut of Justice League, and it's coming in 2021. And it sounds like Snyder's vision might be structured as like a 6-episode miniseries. I actually went into what those episodes might be in yesterday's video. Go check it out if you haven't already. But here, let's discuss the way the Snyder Cut plan to set up the DCEU. So there's this alternate ending of Steppenwolf's severed head rolling to the feet of Darkseid. There are these rumors of that cryptic nightmare sequence from Batman v Superman getting more of a focus with that dark injustice Superman. And there was a rumor of like a possible Green Lantern Corps post-credit scene. Now, there currently aren't plans for a Justice League sequel beyond this Snyder Cut on HBO Max. But if this series is a huge hit, yeah, that could definitely be enough for these loose ends to reawaken Snyder's whole vision for the DCU and Justice League 2. So I want you guys to pitch me what Snyder's Justice League 2 could look like.
All right, I'll go first, and I'm very excited because I've kind of had to co-opt a pitch that I've had for a while now for rebooting the DCU, but I think it will work here pretty well. So now one of the rumors that has been circulating that we were supposed to see the death of a certain Batman at the end of Justice League 2, which is crazy. It's bonkers. I don't know how that would have all fit. Maybe they would have done something like Grant Morrison-y from the comics, but that doesn't matter right now. I also want to touch upon the time travel Easter egg that we got from the first film that didn't pay off in Justice League whatsoever, as far as I could tell. So my pitch is that in an extended Justice League 2, building off of what could be in the Snyder Cut, we see Bruce die, and Barry's distraught. It's his best buddy, Bruce. He's the first person to ever talk to him about having superpowers. This means a lot to him. So he pulls a Flashpoint and goes back in time, and we end up connecting Justice League Batfleck, who is now out of a contract, doesn't want to do Batman anymore, with Robert Pattinson's The Batman that's being developed right now. So Barry starts talking to Batman. We don't even really need to acknowledge the fact that those are two different people right now. It's just a younger Bruce. And I think a way to kind of connect it a little bit is that we use Robert Pattinson, proud of that name. We take him from the past to the future and use this younger, more youthful, more inexperienced Batman to have a more creative solution to dealing with this alien threat. And so at the end of the movie, he survives. He's able to learn from what his predecessor did. We were like, hey, we don't kill people. That's not what Batmans do. That's not what we're all about. And we see Robert Pattinson's Batman go back to his present day with the knowledge of like Darkseid. And I also want to throw out there, we should deal with the nightmare future vision that the other Batfleck had, so maybe that's what's going on right now. But now Robert Pattinson's Batman has seen this, and at a younger age decides to look out for metahumans, for supermans, and other superpowered superheroes to bring together and form the Justice League at an earlier date, while also using the cast that we already have that is signed on, the people that the cast that people already like. So we have like Ray Fisher's Cyborg, we have Jason Momoa's Aquaman, we have Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, and even more. And I think this could, in a way, fix some of the problems with Batman v Superman and the other Justice League film without deleting them, because they were still important to getting to this point. But we're able to tell a new, fresh story with the same Justice League, basically, but with a I don't want to say optimistic, because I feel like that was a naughty word for the DCEU, but with a different tone. And also, this is a way to do Flashpoint without totally nuking Barry's character, because I know he goes back in time to save his mom, but by doing that, he like creates World War III and almost kills billions and trillions of people all across the universe. So in this case, he just saves Batman and then puts him right back, and we never have to deal with any time travel ramifications.
I love it. Sam, can I ask a clarifying question, if I
Yes.
may? Are you saying that through the like a Flashpoint type style event, Robert Pattinson is like an alternate past, like alternate timeline version of Batfleck? Or is like Robert Pattinson just what Ben Affleck looks like when he was like 20 years younger?
I like the idea that this is just what Bruce Wayne looks like now after like the Joker or the death of Robin or something. And like I said, like when it comes to Flashpoint, like we could kind of explore the Speed Force, we could explore time travel, and without nuking Barry's character. Look, we could set up Wally West if we want to for future movies, but let's not totally ruin Barry Allen's The Flash.
I agree. I love that idea, Sam, and I think that to me is the big unanswered question from Snyder's DCEU is just that time vortex sequence. Like, if you could just give me something to like rationalize that or make it more complicated. I still, as much of the mixed feelings I have about some of those movies, that's one where I'm like, ooh, give me more of that time vortex shit. Sam, I'm gonna award you 2 Rogie Sparkle Bucks for your theory. Just facts
Oh,
in
wow.
there.
Thank you. It looks like it's coming out over here. What do we have? Oh, look, it's a unicorn USB
Whoa.
light.
Nice.
Where did that come from? That's pretty nice. Oh, wait, we have another one coming in. Let's do this IKEA hourglass. Definitely see this when you're walking around.
I've
that
definitely
store.
passed by dozens of those in the lower levels as I'm just trying to get the hell out of there.
Man, I miss IKEA so bad. I can't wait to go back.
What's the Swedish word for hourglass?
Hornenglassen!
Thank you for the assist.
Ferdy. All right, who's next?
I'll go next. Believe the
right.
hype. Unlike Kermit the Frog, Justice League Part 2, it's going to be easy being green, all right? Listen to me. It's all about those goddamn lanterns, baby. Green Lantern. Right. The scene is set. First of all, Zack Snyder has mentioned recently that there is a cameo in his cut of Justice League that would bring a familiar face back to the DC Cinematic Universe. Who liked that tweet? None other than Mr. Ryan Reynolds, Hal Jordan himself. So, I've connected the dots, and I believe that there will be a post-credit scene. Don't laugh at me. I'm going somewhere here. Featuring Hal Jordan, maybe some other Green Lantern Corps members as well, setting the stage for an intergalactic space battle at the beginning of Justice League 2 that will then make its way to Earth and fight then it'll be a team up between the Justice League and the Green Lantern Corps. Why do I think this is going to happen? Because a little birdie told me on the internet that Kevin Feige is having trouble getting the Deadpool 3 movie off the ground because he's not an individual fan of the character. It was not a Marvel Studios homegrown product. So that movie is currently stalled. Rob Liefeld says it's never going to be made. Now, he's said insane things on the internet before and also doesn't know how to draw feet or hands. So, can you trust him? I don't know. I don't know if you can trust him. But to me, the seeds have been planted. The water is coming down from the atmosphere to grow the Green Lantern, played by Ryan Reynolds, in the DC Cinematic Universe once more.
Whoa.
Things are going to get dark, as in Darkseid, battling the Green Lantern Corps at the beginning of the movie. And then I believe the fight will move down to Earth. Justice League 2 will be a team-up between the Green Lantern Corps, the Justice League, battling Darkseid and his army of handsome aliens.
And what, I just have to follow up here. What is Darkseid's agenda here? Is it the tease of the whole anti-life equation that we got in the Nightmare sequence? Is he just trying to pick up in the Mother Box quest that Steppenwolf was doing? What's his end game?
Well, I believe that we will have to follow the linear pattern of picking up on Steppenwolf's failed quest, and he'll be pursuing that goal, just because it has to tie in. Listen, my idea is bulletproof and fantastic, but it does need to follow some logic. So with that, I will concede that we will unfortunately have to remember that Steppenwolf was a character in these movies and was trying to accomplish a task which he failed at, and we failed him. We failed him. We failed the
It was us
actor,
who
Siri
failed
and
him.
Hines. We failed everyone failed each other there. There's no one to really blame except for to look in the mirror and blame yourself because we all failed.
Tommy, I love the Green Lantern Corps. I'm bummed that Jeff Johns thing seems to have stalled out at the moment.
Yeah.
And I wish that like the 2011 Ryan Reynolds one. You know what I come to think? In your version, in your headcanon, Tommy, Ryan Reynolds, when he plays a failed version of a superhero, is always given a second chance
That's
to
right.
redeem it in some later
Is there
franchise.
any person on Earth? Is there any actor that has the juice to get himself back in as a character that was so maligned and such a failure? Like, we will forgive Ryan Reynolds for anything. And what if he got Hugh Jackman to play another member of the Green Lantern Corps? What if he jacked the Jackman, from the X-Men movies, and we get him in the Green Lantern Corps?
Tommy, I love your enthusiasm, so I'm going to give you a green sparkle buck.
Thank you.
But it'll just be one because you're kind of giving some part 2 of a Rogue Theory episode energy to a part 1.
I apologize. I apologize.
But you still get one because there's a lot in your theory that I really love and I would love to see.
I fully accept, and that Sparklebuck has turned into the Adventures of Pinocchio VHS starring Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Martin Landau. This is a hologram cover. So as you can see, Martin Landau begins to disappear. Then he's JTT. Then he's a puppet. Gorgeous JTT puppet. As you can see, transformations, much like these films, are beginning to transform.
Why does Martin Landau, he plays Geppetto, why is he turning into the boy? It's just holograms for no reason.
I don't know. I think that I'm going to guess, as is the answer to most, why did things happen in Hollywood? Cocaine? The artist designing the cover stayed up for 72 hours, and in the end, he concluded that it was a Father, Son, Holy Spirit dynamic between puppet, boy, and father, and that's how we got this unholy trinity right here.
For that wonderful explanation of the hologram technology on the Pinocchio live action, you get a second bonus trophy for that.
That's incredible, and
I put you on the spot, and you delivered.
It's a non-holographic VHS of the Goonies.
yeah.
A deliciously dizzy adventure with crowd-pleasing fun, says Kathleen Carroll of the New York Daily News.
We know Goonies.
Yes.
We know the Goonies.
We know what Goonies is. You don't have to sell us on Goonies.
Listen, guys, I don't want to list some of the star power, but have you heard of Thanos? Because Josh Brolin is in this movie. Have you heard of Samwise Gamgee? Sean Astin is in the movie. Have you been represented by an entertainment lawyer that you said, geez, that looks like Chunk all grown up? He's in the movie. And he practices entertainment law in Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
That is so wonderful to learn. He had it best, I think, of all of them. All right, Zach, it is your turn. Show us what you got.
Okay, so basically his original vision was for Justice League to unfold a lot like, with the second and third one being a lot like Infinity War and Endgame. Basically, the second Justice League movie ends with like Darkseid winning, destroying the world, right? Getting like to the nightmare situation like Sam proposed, right? And then in the third one, through some time travel and traveling to and from Apocalypse and New Genesis and all this kind of interplanetary boom tubing, right? They're able to do their big endgame fight. And I think something along those lines will still happen. I think whatever the version of Justice League 2 is, it will involve like them losing. And I think like it was part of the problem with the first Justice League movie, why people were dissatisfied, and maybe part of the reason we want the Snyder Cut is because like it ended like in a very traditional way, where like the good guys teamed up to beat the bad guy, and he's dead forever, and here we go, right? And it didn't feel like, oh, we're setting up, I can't wait to come back for future movies. If anything, it's like, oh, I can't wait to maybe see this Aquaman movie because Jason Momoa seems pretty fun or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so I think like that's what we need. We need our Empire Strikes Back. We need our Infinity War, right? We need to see a villain that is capable not only of being a threat to all these heroes, but like is better than them, right? They're going to need to improve, to recruit more, to do whatever to overcome this bad force of Darkseid, right? Who is like the DC universe's Thanos in every way, right? Like Thanos was pretty much a ripoff of Darkseid, right? Yeah. And because he's coming after Thanos, they have to figure out a way to make him better, right? Because like nobody's gonna put up with a pale imitation of Thanos, right? It's just a little less purple. It's like they have to make him harder, tougher, bigger, badder. So I think he needs to win. And like really in kind of the original proposed plan, which I think works really well for this, like he does, and he wins in a way that's even worse than the way Thanos won, right? He wins by like just wiping out Earth, not taking off half the people so they can go to support groups and like admire the new whales in Manhattan Harbor or whatever, right? Like he wins, the Earth is destroyed, like everything's a desert. Batman has to wear khaki trench coats. Like it's bad. It's a really dark reality, right?
Sounds like everybody wins. Yeah.
Fans of Banana Republic truly win. So I think that's where we're going. And now again, that was his original vision. I think the way things will be shifted is because Justice League, I think now a second Justice League needs to come after, we know it's coming after Wonder Woman 1984 and the second Aquaman, definitely. And it'll be after the Batman, right? Which I don't think will intersect with this, with the JL timeline here. But I think like we need a Green Lantern Corps movie first. We need maybe a Cyborg spinoff movie, right? Maybe even something like a third Wonder Woman movie, something like that. Like we need, where maybe we get introduced to some more tertiary characters. The reason Endgame works so great is because, man, when those portals open up and you recognize like 50 faces, right? And like, that's so great. And like none of those faces were new to Endgame, right? They'd all come from like a bunch of movies. I think like that was a tough part about Justice League 2. It's like first time we're meeting Flash, really. First time we're meeting Cyborg. Like we hadn't spent a lot of time with Batfleck, right? Like there's still like a lot to be introduced in that movie. So like we need to do a lot more introducing so that it can pay off in Justice League 2. Still, I want to see like a much bigger Justice League team still get defeated by Darkseid, knowing that they're going to have to regroup for whatever that third movie is. So that's my pitch for it. Darkseid wins, Earth destroyed, but like the team grows, the team gets like more of a character arc. We get to get a lot more background information, which some of that has been hinted we will get in the Snyder Cut, right? A lot more Cyborg backstory, a little bit more Flash backstory. We need to flesh out these characters so that it just devastates us when they lose.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea, Zach. I'm going to award you one Rogie because I do completely agree structurally with what this story would have to be. We would need a really, really dark story to follow. So I'm awarding you one. And the reason it's not more is I'm like, Marvel handled the big battlefield, you know? Like, Endgame gave me everything I needed. I want to see exactly how DC makes Darkseid different from Thanos. I want to, like, already we're getting a sense of, like, there's a post-apocalyptic wasteland with a big Omega symbol in the dunes. And, like, I want to see what led to that. And I don't know if I need an on your left moment, you know? Like, maybe there is a version of that could work, but I feel like too many haters would just say, like, oh, Endgame did it, you know? There's something there. But you are totally onto something, that Darkseid has the potential to be so much darker even than Thanos. And could be an even more gripping villain that we're truly afraid of, as opposed to like this weird holy man that we kind of follow in his quest to sacrifice his daughter. I don't know. But I love that idea, and I've loved all these ideas. I want to hear them back in a tweet.
Okay, first off, I didn't get to accept my Sparkle Buck.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Erik Voss, how dare you? I mean, it's bad enough you shortchange me in payout, but then you also don't give me the chance to reveal.
Wow.
Okay. And it is a screener version of Logan. Okay. Somebody's fiance was in SAG in 2016.
And paid her dues. Paid her dues on time.
All right, give them back to me in a tweet.
Okay, I'll go, and I hate to disappoint my fans, but I'm going to skew away from the rhyming scheme. And it's going to be my plans, and then it's going to be a beautiful new Green Lantern Corps cast of hot, young, diverse actors, and then it's going to say 2020, and it's going to be Ryan Reynolds in that terrible CGI Hal Jordan suit. Because Green Lantern Corps movie, I believe, was supposed to come out June 6th, 2020 in the original release date.
Oh, yeah.
So we'd have a gorgeous like Zendaya Green Lantern Corps. Ana de Armas in the Green Lantern
A
Corps.
Cole Sprouse.
A Cole
Sprouse
Sprouse
Green
a
Lantern.
Harry Styles Green Lantern Corps, but instead we're getting the guy from Waiting in his CGI Green Lantern painted on Green Lantern costume. And that's what 2020 is to me.
What a tweet! What a tweet. All right, who's next?
Ooh, I'll go Flash Pattinson. It's easy peasy. But then have the gif of the Flash and Superman racing, but edit it so Robert Pattinson's face from Twilight's, like, as the vampires looking over at Barry, while Barry's kind of edited to look over at them, and they're kind of giving each other little best friend eyes. I think that people would really like that.
Okay, and mine is, I will pick up the gauntlet that Tommy dropped on his way to his tweet. And Justice League 2, the Snyder Cut is your friend. Did you like Infinity War? Let's do it again!
Oh! And for getting the rhyme in there, Zach gets another sparkle button.
Ah.
I fully
All right,
endorse
well,
that. God, I'm proud of you.
That turned into a screener of Paul Thomas Anderson's Phantom Thread. Again, another great movie from that same year.
What was his name? Something Woodcock? What was his name in that movie?
Oh my God.
Bernard Woodcock or something insane.
Yeah.
Someone will let us know in the comments, and I'm sure they won't comment about my physical appearance while doing so. Anyway, let us know.
Anyway, well, if you're concerned about your physical appearance, whether it's on your face or under your pants, we want to help you out with our sponsor of today's episode, Manscaped.
Yes.
Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. These guys spent 18 months designing the Lawnmower 3.0. It's the greatest ball hair trimmer the world has ever seen, or the world will never see, because those pubes are staying nice and tucked in your shorts during these sun's out. Puns out, right?
I thought in my mind, you thought that it just tucked the pubes instead of shaving them. It just gently folds your pubes at a 90-degree angle at the base.
That's
It
right.
slicks them back.
It's a pube shaved is a pube tucked. This thing is waterproof. It has a 90-minute battery, so if it takes you 90 minutes to shave,
That's just halftime, baby.
You can shave you and your friend's balls.
And you don't even need to do it during the daylight because, guys, it's got an LED light so you can see what you're doing down there. Right? It's, you're like, if you're a coal miner and if you're trapped in the coal mine, good thing you got your pube trimmer with you because Manscaped's got you covered. Manscaping accents are a thing of the past thanks to Manscaped's patented skin-safe technology. We've also got Quiet Stroke tech on there. 7,000 RPM trimmer motor. 7,000 of something is going in to keeping your nuts nice and shaved. That's exciting. Get 20% off your order and free shipping with the code ROGUETHEORY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the promo code ROGUETHEORY. Make sure to spell rogue correctly. R-O-G-U-E, not rouge.
Don't ruin your Labor Day picnics with too much pubic hair this year, guys. You're obligated to shave. Your uncles
Also,
and aunts know. They know.
Watch our videos 3 months earlier than you're currently watching them.
Yeah. Labor Day.
I'm just trying to keep people safe.
That's
Hey,
right.
we
He's
appreciate
planning
it.
for the whole summer. The whole summer. Yeah.
I get a lot of repeat views on the ones that I'm in. People watch them over and over
do.
again.
You do. All right, folks, every week we play a game of Rogue Theory with our patrons on New Rockstars Discord. This week, we had a few patrons pitch their plot ideas for Christopher Nolan's Tenet film based on the latest trailer that I broke down earlier this week. Be sure to check that out. I think I figured it out. I still don't fully understand physics. Anyway, there's a lot of great ideas that were pitched. There was a great theory from Every Rose, with a totally insane theory. They pitched that John David Washington's character was going to have to reset the Big Bang to make sure the universe doesn't become pure chaos. We love that idea, but the winner was our man Danny X, with his pretty plausible thought that actually included Robert Pattinson's character being a mole in the Tenet organization, and John David Washington's character has to sacrifice himself by jumping into another timeline to stop like another world war. It seemed to this actually makes sense, and any theory that you pitch on Tenet, it's going to be a rogue theory because that movie seems to be like the roguest, crazy, wild ride I've ever seen. What do you guys think of this?
I love it. I'm so confused by it. I can't wait to see it. I don't know what it's about. I won't understand when I watch it. I won't understand 10 years later after watching you break it down. I won't ever understand the movie, and I will be there opening night, and I will be there again 3 more times, and I will keep rewinding time, and still won't understand it.
I'm excited for Tenet in the same way, like with Inception and Interstellar. Christopher Nolan does a great job of like creating insane whatever technologies or methods or whatever, but then like using them to tell like a good story that like tugs at the heartstrings. And I think he's gonna be able to do that with Tenet too.
Absolutely. Anyone watching, you can play too and have your theory read on an episode of Rogue Theory, just like these guys have, by becoming a patron at patreon.com/newrockstars, and you can join our Discord. It's a great way to help keep this channel alive during these difficult times, because we're all shooting stuff from home. It ain't easy, but we're getting through it thanks to the help from our friends in our Patreon community. All right, let's move on to our next topic, guys. So Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder have become the central figures to the whole Snyder Cut debate, and in the general comic book movie world after this whole thing went down. Each of them have respectively shaped the MCU and the DCEU. Now, Joss Whedon stepped in to finish Justice League after Snyder had to leave it due to a family tragedy. But I want to pose a thought exercise to you guys. What if the roles were reversed and Zack Snyder had taken over Avengers from Joss Whedon in 2011-2012? How would the Avengers and all of the MCU have turned out differently with Zack Snyder behind the wheel? Pitch me your theories.
I love this thought exercise, Eric. And at first it sounds like, oh, there's no way this would have been a good idea, right? Especially maybe if you're not the biggest fan of what Zack Snyder has done with the DCEU. But I'm going to propose that maybe it could have turned out good. So like in the MCU, right, the events of Avengers 1 have had like giant rippling waves throughout like all of the properties, right? Especially like you watch any of the Netflix series, right? Like all those characters were so impacted by like the New York event, right? Like the fight in that first battle that kind of had a 9/11-esque impact on the city, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think, boy, you know who loves 9/11-esque? Zack Snyder. Batman vs. Superman starts with like the most 9/11 sequence ever, right?
That was a great sequence.
Yes, it was. And it was heavy, and it's like, a little triggering maybe, but like, well depicted and like created this like emotional resonance for the rest of that movie. So I think that's what he would have done. Like Marvel ended up kind of like retconning, insinuating this anyways. During Avengers, if you've rewatched it recently, like you don't see a lot of civilian casualties. There's the one waitress, she survives, right? Like there's buildings getting blown up and windows getting smashed, but there's not a lot of blood, not a lot of dead bodies, not a lot of like crying motherless children or something like that. Snyder would have done all of that, okay? So then when, a year later you watch Jessica Jones season 1, or, when Civil War hits and like these characters are starting to get weighed down by like the implications of what they've done, right? Like it would feel that much more important. So I think like it's a grittier, it's a bloodier Avengers 1. Like, not that much similar plot. I do think instead of eating shawarma at the end, they do a CrossFit workout, probably, knowing Zack Snyder and his preferences. But
yes. Yeah, Zach, I totally agree, and we've been doing our MCU rewatch, and one thing that I just can't wrap my mind around is in Civil War, in that opening scene with Secretary Ross, he's like, here are the casualties of all the things you guys have done. New York, the Triskelion of DC, Sokovia. It's a total of 300 casualties. It's not even total deaths. It's just casualties. It's just like injuries. And that's insane to me. And then Tony Stark's all upset about it because Miriam's like, you killed my son. And then like 5 seconds later, he's recruiting a 15-year-old to go fight the strongest people on Earth. So I agree. I think Zack Snyder would appreciate the impact, the personal impact. Like he would have given us that moment of when Ben Affleck hugged that kid and he's like, "Where's your mom?" and she points up to like the wreckage. That was like heartbreaking, and he would have brought that heartbreak to that. What I think was really missing from the MCU during that era. So for that, I will award you 2 Rogie Sparklebug.
Oh, and that has become this screener of The Martian and this screener of Wonder Woman. Wow. I think all released maybe the same year.
Apropos. Okay. Apropos.
Yes.
Love it. All right, who's next?
Movies.
I'll go next. And this theory is to be taken with grave seriousness. There is nothing humorous about the theory I'm about to say. It is simply the way that it would have played out in this alternate reality. No need to comment, no need to add me. As we know in Avengers, one of the early moments of the film is Loki touching the staff to Hawkeye's heart, taking over his mind and causing him to do bad things for 2/3 of the movie. I believe that the Snyder influence comes in at the beginning of the last third when Hawkeye has a Tony Stark Iron Man-less suit off of him, dead to rights with an arrow, when Tony Stark mentions the name Howard. Cut to Hawkeye. How do you know that name? Howard was my father. What is Hawkeye's father's name? Howard in this iteration. I didn't do the 5 seconds of research to see if that's true or not. That brings him back from the mind control, puts him back on the side of the Avengers, and bonds two characters that beyond that really had nothing in common or really any chemistry or interactions that were, super noteworthy in any of the subsequent films. In Captain America Civil War, we no longer see them against each other. They can't bring themselves to fight against each other. Hawkeye has to join Team Iron Man. We see the unity there. At the end, Hawkeye, distraught over the death of Natasha, is comforted by his pseudo-brother, Iron Man Tony Stark, only to lose him tragically to Thanos. I believe what I'm calling now the Howard connection will be the crux of the Snyder Marvel Cinematic Universe. I will yield the rest of my time to the congressman from Missouri.
I could never hold political office in Missouri because I can't say the state's name right. E or
I always just say it like I'm apologizing. Missouri.
Misery!
Misery!
Tommy, that's bonkers.
Yes.
But I do love it. And you know what? We did kind of get a bit of a mommy issues moment in Civil War, right? Remember that was a fun 2-month period from like March to May of 2016 where we had our two big movie franchises had these two big frontmen fighting each other, and in that break into the third act, it was both over like their moms like being injured or threatened.
Dead moms, yeah.
Dead moms. What a fun time. So Tommy, thank you for taking us back to that. And for giving Hawkeye some, because I think you are right on something that I think Zack Snyder would recognize that Jeremy Renner Hawkeye definitely needs some...
needs a little bit of protein added. And may I mention that in this universe, the Jeremy Renner app has now exploded. It is the marquee social media app. We are all on Renner. We're checking Renner. I got in a fight with my Republican uncle on Renner yesterday. I met up with my old girlfriend. She messaged me on Renner. We're getting coffee next week. I don't know. I feel like the
my identity was stolen on Renner.
Yeah, I lost everything to a Nigerian.
I'm playing Farmville on Renner.
I'm playing Mafia Saga on Renner. I'm up on Renner all night just scrolling through bikini photos of exes. I don't know. Not that I've ever done that on any other social media. I award myself no Rogies.
But I'll award you one purple Hawkeye Rogie Sparkle.
That's great. And oh my god, it's a VHS copy of Free Willy. How far would you go for a friend? Kind of an ominous title.
All right, Sam, bring us home with your theory.
Let me land the plane here, gang. Go
You
ahead.
gotta land this bird.
All right, here we go. So I think it's fair to say that when Snyder went to the DCEU, the directive after The Dark Knight was to adapt the darker, popular stories over at DC Comics, like your Injustice, your Kingdom Come, your Dark Knight Returns, what have you. And for the MCU, the original pitch was adapting the Ultimate Marvel Universe that was taking the Marvel characters, the staples, the Avengers, Spider-Man, X-Men, and moving them to a more modern era and retelling their origins so that it fit, what we know today, what we know and love about today's political climate. Anywhoozle, so I think we're going to go ahead and build off that, and we're going to have the ultimate characters from the comics be just true to form. And that means everyone's going to be an a-hole. Just through and through. Everyone's going to be a jerk. We're talking about Captain America being a man out of time in the bad way, where he's saying things that aren't really politically correct, if I can say it that way. I guess it's worse than that, though. I know he had some not so great interactions with people from different races, to put it lightly, in the comics. But also, I would want to see him say the infamous line when he was fighting the Chitauri in the comics. He points to the A on his head and he says, "Do you think this A stands for France?" And that's the kind of cap I want to see. I can't believe we didn't even see that in the movies at all. But also, like, talking about the other characters, Iron Man being more of a dick, as well as Thor actually pulling like a Superman and ending Loki right there in Avengers. Like, he already got passed in Thor 1. And you're saying you took him back to put in prison in basically a studio apartment. And after the events of Avengers, like, he killed or is responsible for the death of like at least a couple thousand, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in that city. I think it'd be fair if you saw Thor do a little with the Loki, or we'll finally maybe see him use the hammer and smash someone's face in. But also, it could have been worth adapting from the original Ultimate Comics. The first big inciting incident that brings all the Avengers together is the Hulk going on a rampage, and the Hulk in this is like a monster. He's not just a big hulking, scary green dude. He's a big gray culmination of all the bad parts of Bruce Banner's personality. Like, he even like is killing guys or threatening to kill guys that look at his girlfriend wrong. So I think that's the kind of stuff we would get from Snyder in a cut like this. And now, taking that all together, I think we get all those cherries, all those little nuggets of goodness from the Ultimate Comics thrown on the big screen, and we'd all be a little bummed out, being completely honest.
But you know what? We'd still be hard as rocks, Sam, because what you just pitched was, you know what? That the visual I was getting. Do you guys see like those guys at Corridor Crew like made the Civil War opening actually as realistically bloody as it probably would be? It looked awesome. That's what I imagine like a Zack Snyder Avengers would be. Is we would see real blood. There would be heads rolling. People would actually stay dead, which is something that like tends to not happen in the MCU. It's rare that you have a character die and stay dead. I mean, we'll see what happens in Phase 4, but I have a feeling we're going to see Tony Stark pop up again in cameos. Yeah. So, Sam, for your pitch, I will award you a red and a blue for, not for the French flag, but for the American flag.
Thank you. Nice.
Even though people in France see movies too, and that's probably why they didn't do it.
Could be for the Puerto Rican flag. There's a lot of Colombian flag.
Yeah, the UK flag. Yeah, there's a lot.
Well, this time it looks like it turned into a JBL little portable speaker so you could charge your phone with. You could take it to the beach. That's
they're
cool.
open, baby. I was there all last week, every day, hugging, licking, kissing, volleyball spiking. Just kidding. I'm in Rochester, New York, where it's currently snowing. It's not.
Oh, and the second one turned into the hit Skybound Games card game Red Flags that help you find the perfect date of your dream by making up bad dates for your friends.
I'll have to check that one out. All right, let's give these back to me in a tweet, please.
Okay, Avengers 1, Zack Snyder is your friend. Like 9/11, let's do it again.
Sticking to the game of the first round. Yeah.
Same tweet. Yeah.
Repost.
Okay. Somebody fix the Avengers, you cowards. Make it all about Hawkeye, Tony Stark, and their father Howards.
You could do hashtag Make America France again, but you use the image of Cap with the A on his head with like really bloodshot eyes. But you cap it off with hashtag Release the Whedon Cut. That's how you bring it full circle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Sam. Yeah, you get special Rogie, bonus Rogie for that one, for reminding us, no matter what reality we're living in, there are people who want to see the behind
the scenes. That turned into Shakespearean insult bandages. So if you want to cover yourself in jokes that I wouldn't get, you can go ahead and use these. You can hit me up for that.
Okay, and we have now come the time... We have now come the time. What does that mean? We have now arrived at our final round of Rogue Questions.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Yes,
sir.
All right, question 1. Last week was the 40th anniversary of Pac-Man. What's a good way to celebrate Pac-Man besides playing it?
Okay, this is easy. This is what I always do every year on Pac-Man's birthday. I go to a graveyard, I put a bunch of fruit around the tombstones, and then I scare a bunch of ghosts into getting up, angering them, so they chase me around while I pick up the fruit and eat it.
Well, normally I would make a maze, like a Halloween maze, and you get my nephews to kind of run through it, but you'd have people dressed up as ghosts, a.k.a. other things that really frighten my nephews, and they need to run through it as fast as they possibly can, or their fears brought to life will get them. I'm a good uncle.
Yes.
Those are both super appropriate, but how I choose to celebrate it, I mean, first off, I'm going to eat some bananas, gain some points. Mm-hmm. And then I take a full-size photo of myself. I plaster it on the wall. I just add a bow on the top of my head, and then I make love to that photo.
Well, wait a second. I just realized something. Pac-Man's turning 40. Then what he's going to do to celebrate is divorce Miss Pac-Man, because it's midlife crisis time, baby. It's over.
And like many 40-year-old divorcees, they're going to be flat earthers, I think, right?
That's right.
That's the rite of passage. You start looking at a couple YouTube rabbit holes, and then going to conventions in Denver.
I feel like the nature of that game, the fact that you can go out one side and come in the other, kind of disproves the flat earth theory.
That's a good point.
Oh, that's right. It was an ice wall portal that teleports you through the power of Christ.
It all goes through the Denver airport where the gateway to hell exists.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right. I've seen that mural. That mural's fucking creepy, man.
Oh, yeah.
Zach, you're getting the bonus one.
Look, it's 20th Century Women, a delightful family indie film from... Okay.
You just bailed on your own. Okay. All right, question 2. Guardians of the Galaxy star Chris Pratt posted an Insta story this week about how he accidentally deleted 38,000 unread emails in his inbox. What email had you sent Chris Pratt that he never responded to?
I'm still waiting on my request to be Venmo friends with him.
Damn it.
Was that yours?
No, mine was going to be the opposite. It was going to be if I was asking him how to turn from Star-Lord back into Andy Dwyer. Yours was better. I'm going to delete the one I wrote. Sorry.
No.
Mine just says, "Hey, Chris Pratt, do you want to increase the size of your manhood by up to 50 to 75%? Well, these pills are going to take you over the next level, baby. Join my supplement routine."
But you can also do that with Manscaped because size is in the eye of the pubis.
Yes.
Hey, the smaller the bush is, the bigger the tree, right?
That's true.
That makes no sense. I love that. All right, and finally, third question. Paul Scheer did an interview this week where he mentioned a Lucasfilm-sanctioned After Darth, a comedic talk show that he hosted, playing Darth Vader as a talk show host. In the spirit of that show that we will never see, can you do your best Darth Vader talk show bit for me?
Okay, mine's bad. Mine's bad, and I'm bad at voices, so this will be really bad. I'll set you guys up to improve off of what I do. So it'll be something like, what's the deal with Jawas? Huh? They're so energetic. You think the Jawas are on Java?
So this is a monologue.
It's a Craig Ferguson-esque, non-topical monologue.
You need the puppets. Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be the promo before it airs. So it's After Darth, right? It's After Darth. Tonight on After Darth, Darth Vader's going to be throwing some stuff off a ledge. Spin a little bit, sorry. It's like Letterman. And then we get to cut to Darth Vader just throwing all of his lieutenants off the building using the Force choke. You see droids going over, you see aliens going over, maybe you see Greedo going over, or like Luke Skywalker, the famous ones.
New Yorkers just stepping in Admiral Mahdi, like, hey, take this to the curb, come on. Yeah. All right, Tommy.
Okay, all right. Arms, legs, their virginity to Han Solo. What are things lost by the Skywalkers in the Star Wars saga?
You had a prop. How did you put that prop together just now when I just told you what this question was?
I have been praying for a Johnny Carson Karnak bit on this show for years.
You had this ready to go.
I sealed this envelope in 1994.
Wow. Well,
He is in his childhood bedroom. That might have been there.
That's true.
For that level of foresight, Tommy, I award you a Rogie.
No way. That's crazy. And it is the VHS of Free Willy 2, The Adventure Home. A wonderful action-packed adventure, says Neil Rosen, New York One News. And then another psychopath has the balls to say this is smarter and more endearing than the original, The Ideal Family Movie. That was said by Karen James, may she rest in hell, of the New York Times.
All right, let's view our final scores.
Yeah, I got 5.
5 for Sam.
I think I also have 5.
And I have 39. No, I have 4. She'll be shocked to hear I've come in last again.
All right, so we have a tie with Zach and Sam. So our tiebreaker this week will be, what will be the slogan for Justice League 2, directed by Zack Snyder?
Okay, here's my, because wasn't the first one, was it Unite the League?
Unite the Seven or something?
Unite the Seven, right? And so I think this is going to be, here's your hashtag.
Just
Bunch of
nothing.
faces.
Just this.
But there's
movie
no
is
hashtag.
Yeah,
It's
the
just them saying,
hashtag is
here's
a
your
six-pack.
yeah. Ooh.
The slogan will be "We did it," and the poster will be just like Zack Snyder with a thumbs up, surrounded by all his buddies. The buddies, of course, are Batfleck.
Nice. Yep.
You got Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Cyborg. Those are the
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give that win to off-screen producer Zach Huddleston.
Oh,
Here's your hashtag.
whoa.
All right, Zach, you are the winner of today's episode. What is your wish?
That, by the way, that did become a screener of Split. James McAvoy at his most physical. Okay. Okay. What's my wish? Oh, I just want to hear everybody's Martha in their weird filtered Batfleck voice.
Oh, okay.
That's just the name.
Yeah.
What's that name? Martha! I feel pretty good about that. Felt pretty good.
Every time I pick you up, just once I want to knock on that door and hear that you didn't say that name and think, maybe you made it out to the West Coast. Martha.
That was very good.
That was good.
This is solid.
It's inspired, but shit.
Martha!
Wow, wish granted. All right, well, that's it for this episode of Rogue Theory. Thank you to our guests, Tommy Bechtold, Sam Bashor, and off-screen producer Zach Huddleston. Don't forget to subscribe to the Rogue Theory podcast feed and stay tuned to the YouTube channel for this and other shows. Follow us on Twitter at New Rockstars. Follow me at Erik Voss. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.